Hi, this is Marcus Timpson from FuturePrintTV. Today I'm at RICOH Europe's headquarters in central London. The reason I'm here is that RICOH has been leading the industrial inkjet revolution over the past 5 to 10 years. And as a result, they've reached some significant milestones and made some massive achievements. More importantly, I'm here to talk to some of the people behind those achievements to find out a bit more about the technology, what it enables, and perhaps what we might expect in the future from RICOH. We're here today because actually we're interested in how the business is developing, so we're going to hear a little bit about that, but also because you've reached a particular milestone that we're going to talk about a bit later. First up though, Graham, would you mind explaining a little bit about RICOH Industrial Print and really what that means and broadly what the business does?
I think RICOH has a rich heritage in print, in office print and in commercial print, but more recently in industrial. And that's really where our business comes to the fore. And that's predominantly in the supply of Inkjet Printhead technology and integration services to the OEM market, spanning a range of different vertical sectors and supporting the transformation in analog to digital environments.
And when you say industrial print, it's not really the commercial print area, it's an array of exciting new application areas that people might not think inkjet is actually very active in.
It will be about how inkjet technology can add value to a manufacturing process, either upstream process efficiencies or adding value further downstream.
So Richard, the work that you do for RICOH, clearly inkjet, in particular RICOH, is working in multiple different industries. Tell us a bit about some of the different markets and some of the exciting different applications that you're working on.
Well, inkjet started as something that was just graphic communication, so you could print images that were produced by screen or other means. So that's where it came about as a sort of start into industrial. But it's in packaging, it's in anything that's communicating by graphic, whether it's small or large. It's also in the surfaces that we live amongst, from the ceramic floor to the carpet to the wallpaper to the furniture that we sit at day to day, some of the things that we have in our homes. It's been traditionally printed by other means, but it's increasingly printed by inkjet. And then added to that, where that's just adding some colour to something, and as Graham says, in a process efficient way, adding value upstream or downstream. There are non-graphic things like printing circuitry, photovoltaics, functional fluids, DNA. All of that is also done by inkjet. And it's not necessarily, and it shouldn't be, something that's perceived at the end. It's just something that happens in the process. So that's what we do.
The Gen 5 head has been a particular success. What kind of characteristics does that particular inkjet head technology provide people with?
I think we're seeing growth across our portfolio of head technologies, but as you say, particularly with the Gen 5 platform. It has been in the market for several years already, but still in the printhead world, that's relatively young for a printhead platform. It has been through a continual improvement process over the years. You know, we talk to the markets, we talk to our customers, we understand what those evolving needs are, and we take action to add those improvements to the platform to make it fit for purpose for evolving markets of the future. And those improvements really build confidence for new adoption into new market areas. Some of the improvements that really resonate with our partners revolve around robustness and reliability, and really importantly, around the compatibility of new inks that are driving new capabilities for new markets. So the compatibility of the printhead with those new fluids is critical to drive those new markets forward. And having a variety of ink types available for use with the Gen 5 makes it extremely versatile. So for OEM partners who develop a platform that they can use across a sign graphics or a corrugated or a textile platform, really add to the appeal of the Gen 5 printhead.
Clearly the Gen 5 and RICOH creates some fantastic inkjet technology for a variety of different means, but you also work with partners, Richard, don't you, in terms of developing and helping them develop new markets with the technology. Could you give us a bit of a feel for how that works and some examples as well?
There are some notable ones. Sign and graphics, I think we're the number one for sure. And that's in an array of printers, multi-pass printers, from low end to high end, all over the world using our technology. And some of those have sort of ventured into more things. Textile's an obvious thing, which is produced in the same format. There are plenty of other applications that are including printing onto products in jigs across that multi-pass environment. Then the single pass, which covers everything. There's a move towards water-based, and it's really nice to have a platform of product where if you spend $1 on engineering for a Gen 5, then you can have a UV, solvent, oil, water, any type of fluid, and across all different viscosities. And there are sweet spots in viscosity range to make the process efficient. It's used across the board in all of those things, which has contributed to why there are so many different examples of partners using the Gen 5. Durst, EFI, AGFA, there are many more.
The technology is good, but it's a level of support and expertise that
That's
you as
critical.
a team
Somebody mentioned to me the other day that we like the Gen 5, it's a good piece of kit. But what we were really looking for was an organisation that could sort of work with us behind it. The relentless activity to measure and test and monitor, and we do a lot of that. This is all part of the service. It starts with the ink, the fluid, or whatever it is that's got to go on the substrate. That's what the end customer is buying. And we're just a pumping device to get it there. But to make sure it works as a reliable process tool, there's a lot of work goes into that between chemistry and physics and engineering. So we do a lot of that, and I think that's what our partners value.
Let's be honest, times are chaotic at the moment. There's a high level of uncertainty. Clearly Inkjet's still growing and has a big role to play in different industries. If I was a new customer and I'm looking at Inkjet, what kind of unique advantages would RICOH offer me that would make me feel that my investment is best placed with you guys?
I talked at the start about our history in commercial printing, and we've taken our knowledge and our experience from commercial into industrial, and we've had lots of learning through our industrial engagements as well. So we put all of that best practice into our customer and our partner relationships as well. So everything that we've done over the last 10, 15 or more years, our partners can take advantage of that learning, that experience and those skill sets to perhaps de-risk their own developments.
There's a lot of people who actually say they'd like to do this or like to do that, or it goes this fast and it does that image quality and whatever. It's actually doing it relentlessly that's important. And I think with all that work that I described that's behind the scenes, that and the basic product with the continuous improvement throughout the life of the Gen 5, all of that ties into minimising risk, and there are enough risks of everything else. This is generally considered by non-users, non-adopters, people who haven't experienced it before, manufacturers, for example, as a relatively risky technology. I think what RICOH brings is all of the work to set the expectations right and to deliver what's promised. Gen 5 produces fantastic image quality relentlessly over years as an integral part of a piece of equipment that is not a consumable. That's not just the printhead, that's everything else that surrounds that in the efforts that go towards helping for a successful integration. I think that's what our partners value.
On that note, really, I mean, obviously sales are an important facet of any business, and part of the reason I'm here is that Gen 5 has reached a particular milestone. Graham, tell us a bit about that.
We're really proud that actually Gen 5 has surpassed 500,000 units in the market. It's a significant milestone. It's one that we want to celebrate, but we also want to celebrate with our customers, because ultimately it's our customers who have enabled us to achieve that incredible 500,000 unit figure. 500,000 and still growing. We talk about success with existing partners, but there are still many partners who have Gen 5 under evaluation for future products that are yet to come to market. So we want to share that success with customers and future customers as well. So really important milestone, 500,000 Gen 5s. We can position Gen 5 as a $1 billion printhead, really significant for RICOH and our partners.
And I guess with that 500,000, it's led to big gains in new markets for other people, for customers, for partners and so on, and it's actually led to opening up new markets for Inkjet as well.
I talked about the continuous evolution. Ink chemistry is really driving into new markets, and absolutely Gen 5's ability to be compatible with such a wide variety of fluid does help to open up new markets for customers. But the printhead, it's a component within a system. When I talk about Gen 5 being a $1 billion printhead, actually the head technology can be between 10 and 25% of a total system cost. You can equate $1 billion of printheads to be maybe $5 to $10 billion of equipment sales.
That's cost, that's equipment cost.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the subsequent annuities of ink and service that kind of feed into that as well. So the core component has a responsibility for driving maybe up to $20 or more billion of transformation in analog to digital environments.
So Gen 5, obviously a massive success, but clearly you can't get that success without working with a lot of customers. Could you perhaps give some examples of customers that have really joined you on that successful journey with the Gen 5?
There's many customers in China and Asia. There's DGen, the textile area, is quite well known. Then if you go across to label, Mark Andy are a big name in label, come from an analog heritage and they're into digital with Gen 5 since the beginning. Dantec's also in the label space. You could move across to Coetia, who have businesses in packaging, in pharmaceutical and in consumer packaging with Atlantic Zycer and Happer. Then in decor, some of the others I've already mentioned are also in decor as well, but specifically there's Human in single pass wood decor production using Gen 5 in the recirculation version. And then a more exotic fluid, a functional fluid in Heraeus. It's a functional fluid, it's nothing to do with graphic communication or graphic decoration. The list goes on.
You mentioned a little earlier around huge enabling possibilities that Gen 5 has created and also the numbers that we're talking about. Might you be able to explain a bit more about what that means and what kind of numbers we can expect that Gen 5 has led to?
Gen 5, we obviously know how much people have spent on Gen 5, how much people have bought from us, the quantity and then value and so on. And I think it's use averages and you can say, well, it's $1 billion of printhead. And then the $1 billion translates, everybody buys it, not just so they can look at it, but they buy it. It's not a product in itself, it's a component. That goes into a machine. We know that different machines have a different ratio of build cost to printhead value, but generally 10, 20%. So in other words, the cost of the printer that the printheads go into is between 5 and 10 times as much as the printhead value. So you could say, let's say 10 billion, round figure. We know the pumping rates and what those applications are designed for. We know the value of the ink and so on. So we can look downstream at what it produces. And we know how long in machines last and so how long printheads last. So we can calculate that it's probably enabling something like just the ink that is pumped by the printhead and the equipment to do it, about $50 billion. And then you think, well, all of that goes into something that turns into a product. As a consumer value, it's probably way over 100 billion. So if you see this as a sort of inkjet movement, the Gen 5 movement has resulted in quite a lot of money.
As a technology provider, that we evangelise about the capability and the potential that inkjet technology can bring to print markets. And I talked about that transformation from analog to digital. Inkjet technology really adds value downstream or upstream. And it's part of our responsibility to help businesses to understand and take advantages of what that technology can deliver.
All of that stuff is already produced. There's people have flooring, people have wallpaper, people have furniture, people have packaging. Everything is done already. But part of the digital advantage is to reduce wastage, to produce on demand, and all of those sorts of things that in our industry, we talk about quite often. We actually look at each application where somebody's considering to use inkjet, and we think about what benefit it's going to create. So if you can cut the wastage, and in some industries they are extremely wasteful through obsolescence or aging on shelves and things like that.
Stock inventory.
Stock inventory and the tying up of cash and capital in those businesses. So the benefit that's created by this movement in using a Gen 5, that actually results in savings of what? I mean, where it's an interesting calculation. Probably on the millionth milestone, then maybe we should look back and see how much the adoption of Gen 5 has actually saved or benefited the processes that it serves.
Congratulations to RICOH, to you as a team.
Thank you.
In order of achieving that massive milestone. FuturePrint recognises that as a fantastic achievement, so much so that we've created a special gold disc, because 500,000 sales equals gold. We think it's a significant achievement and something you should be very proud of, and I'd like to award you with this certification of going gold. So well done,
very
guys.
much.
Gentlemen, thank you for joining me today. Great milestone that you've reached, and look forward to the next one and working with you at future events and so on. So
Likewise. Thank you.